Paul from Alexandria Knife Sharpening. So, last week my laser came in, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this, give a little bit of an introduction to what's going on here. Also to let my followers know why you're going to start seeing some of this content. So, many of you who follow me are following me because of knife sharpening. And what you're going to start seeing on my channel is there's going to be stuff about laser engraving. And some might think, what happened? Is Paul not sharpening knives anymore? Well, no, that is not the case. What happened here and why you're going to start seeing some things about knife sharpening, or about laser engraving, is that a couple of years ago when I started my knife sharpening business, every once in a while I would get requests for, hey, do you engrave knives? Do you engrave this? Do you engrave that? Because I think it's a very common thing that a lot of knife makers, knife sharpeners also get into the engraving and marking business. And I would always have to turn that business away. Not long ago, I had to turn away a request to engrave 150 knives, which would have been a pretty nice profit. So at that point, I decided maybe getting some type of engraver would be a nice addition to my business. So I started researching them and looking at them and learning about them. And trust me, I'm not an expert on laser engraving. This is starting out for me. This is very new stuff. I wanted a laser that was going to be easy to use, but could do a wide variety of things. And one of the reasons I held off in the very beginning when I started researching it, the lasers that I could afford mostly did softer materials. And I really definitely wanted to be able to engrave on knives and on metal things because of having a tool and knife sharpening business. So I just kept looking, following, watching other stuff, watching other YouTubes that have channels that are dedicated to engraving businesses, and I started coming up with a plan to incorporate that into my current sharpening business. So what happened was I saw these lasers. One of the ones that I saw out there was by a company called Pecker, and they were originally a crowdfunding project that started with their first laser, and they nailed it, like out of the box. They came out with a good laser, had great reviews, and it was sold on Amazon eventually. So after it did its crowdfunding things on like Kickstarter and Indiegogo, they started selling on Amazon, and they had a very successful product. And they're a very decent-sized business now, selling laser engravers. Well, they have several laser engravers now. So they are now on, like, this is their Laser Pecker 4, but they also have some other different models too. So they don't just haven't just done 4. I think they have somewhere around maybe 6 different lasers. And they basically have done them, start with crowdfunding, then move it to more mainstream retail spaces like Amazon. So you can find the Laser Pecker 1, 2, and 3 all for sale on Amazon. The Laser Pecker 4 isn't there yet. It's not on Amazon yet, but it will be soon. You can buy it, but you can't buy it through Amazon just yet. You have to buy it through Laser Pecker. But in a very short period of time, it will be on Amazon. Now, what's the downside? The price goes up, of course. So I was able to purchase this for in the neighborhood of around $1,600. I believe the price when it finally gets to Amazon at some point is going to come in around $2,000. It also had some really cool accessories. So it has a rotator, so it can do engraving on round objects like tumblers, coffee mugs, glassware. And it has a moving slide, so it can do big signs. It had a pretty wide range that it can engrave in, which is also nice. So it can do a pretty decent sized sign. which is also why I liked it. But the main reason I got it was its versatility. It was one of the first lasers that Pecker came out with. It really, they were going for a laser that could do just about everything. So paper, wood, and soft products, plastics, but also hard things like metals and slate and stone and cement. And this laser does that. And how up here you can see it has the 450 nanometer laser, which is the softer one, and then it has the 1064 laser, which does the mostly harder things like your metals and stuff. So that was why I made the decision to get this one. I also did some research into the different softwares that people use with it. Now, one thing I liked about this is it did come with its own software. It can be used. You don't even need a computer. You can do basic engraving on this with a phone app. So it has a Laser Pecker phone app. It has a Laser Pecker setup so that you can also use a PC or a MacBook. So I have my Mac connected up right now to it. I actually prefer the Mac. The phone app works fantastic. There's no issues with it. But what I do like with the laptop setup, I just find it easier to work and make designs, and it's a little bit more robust on here, which is great. And with my background in photography, I think, which I've mentioned to many of you before, I've been a photographer since I was about 12 years old. I have a very good knowledge of Photoshop, so I'm able to work with layers and different things, which this has a lot of very basic functions that you would see in Photoshop. But this can also use a program called Lightburn, which is probably the most popular engraving program out there. As people get serious into laser engraving, most of them use a program called Lightburn to control all of their lasers. And it's not uncommon to see people that have engraving shops owning multiple lasers. And Lightburn seems to work really well with lots of different things. Some of the integration with this particular model is still going on because I know Lightburn, the company, doesn't have this yet, but I'm sure it will get there. For me, quite honestly, I'm not doing my own designs. I'm doing basic engraving, names on things, text, minor graphic stuff. So far, this that came with it is more than enough for me. So, will I get Lightburn down the road? I very well might, but I don't know that it's even going to be necessary. It might not be necessary at all for what I do. So, that said, I just wanted to give you the heads up as to why you're going to start seeing some laser stuff. And it's basically because I'm incorporating laser engraving into my knife sharpening business. I'll give you a view of a few things that I have done already. So I have done some chisels, wood handles on these chisels. I have done, this is a paintbrush. I've done some leather. This was the very first thing I practiced on. They gave me some wood to practice on. There's my actual logo that I was practicing on there. I did it on the back of this side. Then I'm actually working on a project of restoring an old Boy Scout axe, and I wanted to be able to put the Boy Scouts of America emblem on the metal of the axe. Let me see if I can zoom in here so you guys can see this. There we go. So I did some test engravings on this old knife. So I always keep a good supply of beat up old knives around in the shop, and just for practicing and doing different things on. As you can see, I engraved Chef Paul into this knife just to see how that worked, and I was very, very happy with how that came out because, and if you look up top here, it's a lot lighter up here. That was the first attempt, but I can, do a full range of a real deep engraving. I can do a real light engravings. There you go. I think you can see it a little better right there. Chef Paul Seymour up top there. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be real useful. Some of my clients that I foresee using this, I have a few cooking schools where the students come in with a lot of the same knives because the school surprised them their first set of cooking knives, but they all have the same knives. So this will give me the ability to engrave their names on their knives so they don't get mixed up. I also have some hairstylist schools that send me their students when they need their shears sharpened, and they also get all the same shears, so I could put their initials or names on their shears, which I think that'll be really cool. And I think for just like the chisels, what a great kind of gift this could be for like Father's Day or Christmas. To have your dad's name put on a set of like wood chisels. Love your daughters, love your son, love your wife, or happy retirement, or whatever you want to do in there. I mean, the possibilities are endless when it comes to engraving, and so that's why the laser's here. I don't want to be turning away engraving jobs anymore, so I hope you guys enjoy some of the content, and for those of you that might be interested in lasers, you're going to be able to follow my journey from the very beginning of starting out doing this and see how it works with my business. So later today I'm probably going to release the very first video. So I did make a video on some tips already for the laser engraver and also for venting the laser engraver, which is real important. So look for that later today if you're interested. And just understand that even though my channel is mostly about my sharpening business, we might start seeing more people come in just because of the laser engraver and how I'm incorporating that into my particular business. So that's it. I wanted to share that with you all. Hope everybody enjoys that content, and I hope you take the time to check it out, especially if you're interested in laser engraving.